guys, Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a stencil for your polymer clay out of plain printing paper. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have tried this, but this was something I used to do in my childhood, where you would fold a piece of paper, cut out shapes, and then end up with a cool result at the end. And I thought that would be a fantastic thing to apply to polymer clay. So what you're going to need is a piece of paper, and you're just going to take that and fold it as many times as you can. I generally get about 4 folds. Let's see if I can get that. I'll do one more fold. And just bear in mind how many folds you do it, because it can make it a little tricky to cut. So only fold it the thickness that is easy for you to cut. Then I'm just going to grab a little pair of nail scissors, and then you're just going to go and cut out shapes at random and remove those from the piece of paper. And I'm just going to do it at random. You could make specific images. It would be a little more complicated and isn't something that I would necessarily recommend, as I don't think it's worth it, because these pieces of paper can only really be used at a maximum of twice, especially with alcohol ink, which is what I'm going to be using it with. So it's not really worth it to be too specific with the pattern. I just like to cut out a random pattern. And there we go. And you should have a very random shape, or maybe something that's a little bit more specific. But once you've kind of cut out as many pieces as you can, you're then going to start to unfold that to reveal your pattern. And just be careful, because a lot of the time it's quite delicate. And there we go, you can see how that pattern looks. And here's the one that I did earlier, so you can see they came out completely different. It's completely random, unless you do copy exactly the same shapes each time. But yeah, that is how you're going to create a kind of paper stencil, and from here I'm going to show you how we're going to use these. And I'm going to bring over a piece of Primo polymer clay, and this is just regular white. And I'm just going to give that a quick burnish to flatten it out onto my work surface, which is a glass tile, and you can use any clay you want, obviously. Today I'm going to be using alcohol inks, so I'm working with white. Now I'm going to be doing 2 layers of ink, and so the first one I am going to be using Pool and Turquoise alcohol ink. That's the first layer. The second layer I'm going to be using metallic alcohol inks, and those names should be shown right now. And finally this purple one. I think it calls Opulent. Yeah. So those are the sets that I'm going to do, and then later after that I'm going to apply a silkscreen pattern over the top to give it a little bit more of a recognizable image. Alright, and I'm going to start out with the first one that I did, because I think this pattern's a little bit on the larger side, so it'll be nice as the first image. And you're just going to kind of place that down, grab another piece of paper and burnish it so that it sticks to the clay. And I use that first, and then I might use my roller to just really make sure that it sticks. So really do a good job of pressing that in, and that will also give you a very light texture. Now I'm going to use inks, and the inks are probably going to bleed through the paper, so you're going to end up with a darker image where there is no paper, and you're going to end up with like a shadow image on the kind of border edges. If you don't want that, you can also use paint, you can use metal leaf, you can use mica powder, and all of those will give you a very sharp image. It's just the ink that's going to have some bleed through, which is something that I want. Okay, and I'm going to use this to apply my ink, because if I apply it with drops, I'm going to end up with a very bold image, and it's just going to show the drops, and it's not going to be very, it's not going to look very nice. So I'm going to apply it to one of these instead. Okay, then I'm going to just tap that over the surface like so, getting a nice decent coat. And again, I'm okay if that absorbs through the paper. It's going to give a ghost image which can look quite cool. And I'm just going to apply a little more ink. Okay, there we go, and this should dry pretty quickly, so I can take the paper off very quickly. So I'm just making sure that I have covered everywhere. That should do. And then let's lift up and see how that looks. And there you can see that you have a very strong image with a little bit of a ghost around it. And that is the first layer. And if this was paint, you wouldn't have the ghost image. And that piece of paper, you can use it again, especially if you use the same color inks. And if you used metal leaf, you could use it. You could use it a couple of times. Just it's not a very permanent thing. It will get ruined fairly quickly because it's made of paper, but it will give you some very unique designs. Okay, and that will soak up the excess ink. A good idea to make these stencils is I use these pieces of paper quite often in my videos where I use it to burnish and to soak up excess ink. You could fold this up and make stencils out of it. That way you could get multiple uses out of pieces of paper. Right, now I'm going to bring this over, and I am going to lace that down. And just quickly give it a burnish to get it to stick at least a little bit before I use the roller. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Oh, it didn't stick. Let me try that again. Okay, there we go, I got it to stick. You have to be quite firm with it to get it to stick. Then I'm just going to bring that over and just opening up those inks, and I'm going to use the same one because I'm okay with there being a little bit of ink run over. Okay, and I only want a little bit of the pink. Then I'm going to apply that generously, making sure that I get all those areas. Okay, and then we'll see how this one comes out. There we go, you can see how that looks, and that gives almost like a tie-dye effect. So let me just pick this up off the tile and show you how that looks. Hopefully you can see there the effect that it's given. So let me know if you like it or not in the comments. It is a fairly more open weave effect. You're not going to get very detailed designs. But it is really good for building up backgrounds on veneers and then applying a silkscreen as a final step. And just going to burnish it again because I do have a faint texture left from the paper. So I'm just going to give that a quick rundown, and then I am going to apply a silk screen to just give it a little bit, just a finishing touch. And I'm using my 111th silk screen, or the snowflake silk screen. I'm just going to take that, place that down, give it a good smooth so that the silk screen bonds to the clay. And I'm going to use silver acrylic paint. You can use any colour paint you want. Just apply that over the surface, close that up, and then just scrape that across, making sure you push that through the silk screen. I recommend being a little bit more thorough with metallic paints, because they have metallic particles and it can be a little harder to get them through the silk screen, so that's why I go over it a couple of times. Okay, then gonna lift that up. Okay, and there is how it should look once it's dried. Now I'm going to apply one more layer, because the silver isn't going to apply a lot of very obvious pattern. It's going to have this really nice catch it at certain angles of light sheen, which I quite like, but I do want the snowflakes to be a little more obvious than that. So I've got the silk screen again, and this time I'm going to rotate it so that the snowflakes are in a different spot than they were last time. Okay, and then the colours that I've got are this almost kind of antique gold metallic, and I am going to mix that up with a little bit of white and a little bit of black, just so that the colour is a little bit more opaque. And just give that a moment, just need a bit of white, and then the tiniest amount of black, because I want it to have a little bit more of a grey edge to it. There we go. And then just mix that up. And that shouldn't take too long, and then that's going to give me a kind of gold silver because of the white and the black. And I didn't really have a silver that I liked, so I made my own silver. Right, and then I've got a brush, and with that I can use that to apply it. I'm just popping that down, and then I can use the card scraper to properly apply it, because the brush doesn't do as good of a job. So let me just bring that over. Here we go. Okay. And then let's see how that looks. There we go. Right, then go clean that silk screen. Okay, so undoing all of that, here is what it looks like. I don't like it. So I flipped the piece over and I inked it all over again using the same pieces of paper and the same inks, and instead I am going to use the silk screen again, but I am only going to be applying white paint. I felt like the last one was too busy. I didn't end up liking the gold colour, and the silver at the back was too much, and it was just too much. If you like it, that's good, but I personally decided to retread that. So I'm going to just place that screen down again, and just making sure that I get a good stick. Okay, and this time I'm only going to be using acrylic white paint. No black, no gold, no silver. And I'll just see how that comes out. And I like to keep the parts that I don't like in the videos because it happens to everybody and that's okay. And sometimes it's a good learning experience. And yeah, I'm just going to silk screen that over the top and we'll see if I like it better. Okay, and this might need to, yeah, it's fine. And I like that so much better already. And my thought process before was I was worried that the white snowflakes were going to get drowned out by the background since it's still quite light, but it actually works really well together. So I'm happy that I backstepped and tried that again. And I'm not going to touch the back, but for reference, there's how it looked before. I'll give you a better look once this is dried, but this is much better, more consistent. Everything works together better, and I personally like it more. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And there we go. This is how it should look once it's dried. And here is what the opposite side looks like. And I have since warmed up to it. It's a little bit more bold, as this one you can see that the snowflakes do start to blend into the background a little bit, but not enough that you can't see them at all. But the general background I am actually quite happy with. It really does remind me of a tie-dye effect. So let me know if you like it in the comments below, and I might revisit it in a project tutorial, as today I'm only showing how to create the stencils and an idea for how to use them. So if you want to see more of them and how to use them in an actual project, let me know. Also, if you like the video, leave a like and subscribe, as it lets me know that this video was interesting or informative, and helps me know which videos I should record going forward. But yeah, that's just about it. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. There's a join button just below this video, or you can check out my Etsy store, just Samantha Design, where I sell things such as the silk screen that I used in today's video. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Will you use it? Have you used this before? And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.